Hey guys, are love dolls a solution for me? A solution to being alone? A couple of other YouTubers mentioned this lately, so I thought I'd give my own take. So, my current situation is paying for real women, which is going okay at the moment. Why would I consider a doll? Maybe I'll reach a point where I've had enough, and I don't want to deal with women anymore. When the pain becomes too much to bear and I just want to hide away from the world, when the stress overshadows the pleasure. I'll find more comfort in the arms of a lifeless chunk of silicon or TPE than with a human. I could withdraw from society and become a recluse. I won't have to leave the house again. I'll shut out the world and recede into the abyss with my plastic love. A peaceful end state. A doll would be all mine, 24/7. I can't afford overnight sessions with a real woman. In the shop, the clock is ticking. I'm usually doing 30 minutes, sometimes an hour. I always have to be mindful of how much time I have left and consider how I pace my session. You're being constantly analysed, perceived, graded. There's so much to think about. Punting is not relaxing. You have to be switched on. Sometimes I'm reminded on the way there and back, or during the session, of how alone I am. This might sound weird, but I think punting is an emotionally taxing hobby. You're experiencing something that you couldn't normally have. Can't help but be reminded of what your life is like. The amount of times I broke down in my car, crying about how nobody will ever want me, while I'm driving on the M80 or the M1 to or from a session. With a doll, there's no awkwardness or nervousness. She can't judge you. She can't make you feel bad. You can be yourself around her because she'll accept you for who you are, unconditionally. She will never reject or betray you. She'll always be there for you. Even if I didn't abandon real people entirely, a doll could give me a break from the stresses of the real world and real women. Actually, I had always wanted a doll for a very long time, as early as high school. I remember we watched the movie Lars and the Real Girl in school, but I had known about them before then. I didn't believe at that point, around age 14 or 15, that I would always be alone, although I had started to notice that things were progressing for other people, but not for me. Why did I have that interest? Was I just a teenage edgelord who took weeb stuff too seriously? I had a body pillow as well. Or did I know, deep down, that my life was to spiral into despair? I checked out the doll websites, and I did research occasionally. The next time I got seriously interested was my early 20s. Before I had my first time, I was so scared of seeing a hooker. I thought that it would be so incredibly awkward, disappointing, and impossible to enjoy, that I'd be overcome with nervousness. The thought of having to deal with people, strangers, was so worrying that I thought love dolls would be my best option. But I realized that it was impractical, and for the time being, real women were my only choice. I was never much interested in real dolls, or other American-style dolls. They look very masculine, not pretty or cute, and they tend to be extremely heavy, not built for a person my size to handle, more for 6-foot white guys. Even some of the lighter models they've introduced, at 25 kilos, would be very heavy for me. I was first interested in the high-end Japanese dolls, like Orient Industry, Candy Girl. They were the first dolls I found really attractive that I'd want to have and dream of owning one day. They really showed the potential of the industry. Now with so many options, they're a bit unremarkable, not having been updated much at all. I still like some Japanese dolls. The DH07 Iris by Project Level D is the one that caught my eye. She's really cute. I believe she's actually supposed to be a white girl which is why she looks a bit different to the other Japanese dolls. But I think she's way cuter than a lot of the American white dolls. I love the pictures of her with white hair, where she's kind of an elegant Lolita type. She's so beautiful. You can actually get a hybrid doll with the fancy level D head and a more affordable body these days. When the Chinese dolls came out in the mid-2010s, I liked the WM Dolls 100cm TPE and the Sanhui 102cm silicone doll. I'm not too familiar with all the latest dolls. I really have to have a look through them all. There are so many now. JY doll 125cm Kate looks pretty cute. I think JY doll is a company to watch. Also Piper doll. There's one issue that I think is holding back the doll industry. I think there's a certain group of people in the doll scene that try to push the industry in a particular direction. Basically anything they don't like, they say looks too young and is cheese pizza, if you know what I mean. And try and shame people for liking anything that they don't like. Smaller dolls, which are lightweight and practical, cute and feminine dolls, Asian dolls, dolls that look like a cute 18-year-old. They only like tall, heavy, manly looking dolls that look like they're a 40-year-old fake washed up adult actress from decades ago. I think they might be responsible for a decline in the quality of the doll market because they have control of much of the English language social media landscape and they can censor what they don't like. I read an article recently how the site The Doll Forum banned some dolls by Piper Dolls because they said they look too young. One of the dolls in question, Risako, has a H-cup chest. It's not some flat-chested girls that they're banning. She looks like a grown woman in her 20s. I think this holds back mainstream popularity of dolls if you're not allowed to have dolls that look attractive to normal people, that look like real attractive girls that you see walking in the city. At this moment, I don't think it's practical for me to have a doll because I need my own place. My mum does not have a positive view of love dolls. I think to her it's something for really crazy or messed up people, and she sees it as really unhealthy. Anyway, I don't have the space in my room, but I do hope to move out in the next few years. I really need to, for the sake of my sanity, regardless of whether I buy a doll. There are some practical issues about owning a doll. Cleaning can be quite an involved and difficult process. In some cases, people use a turkey baster in an interesting way. TPE is porous and therefore can harbour mold and bacteria, with silicone, which is generally safer and non-porous. I still have to wonder, how are you going to sanitize that? Dolls have a limited life expectancy. Materials can break down or wear out. She's not going to be around forever. How many uses are you going to get out of this very expensive piece of equipment? And how does that compare to spending $100 to $200 each time on a real woman? The future holds some promise for dolls, although I'm not sure I'll live to see mainstream adoption because there's still a long way to go. We are seeing the first animatronic dolls and prototypes with a face that can move and have expressions from both Western and Asian companies. The prototype by Beslia, which was at the Shanghai Adult Care Expo recently, looks really cute. What advancements do they need to be to make dolls more of a solution? I think dolls need to have better materials to eliminate mold and bacteria issues and be easier to clean, or even clean themselves. They should be lightweight for smaller guys to work with. Robotics is something to look forward to. A doll that can assume positions and move like a real woman, that can wrap her arms around you like a real woman, could improve things a lot. Kissing is something that would require a lot of advancement. Who knows what kind of innovative materials and mechanisms will be required to create a realistic tongue. It might be several decades before robot dolls can start to do all the things that a real woman does. The reality is that for now, I'm still going to stick to real women. When I get my own place, I probably will buy a doll and use it once in a while, but I'll still need real human contact from a woman. I'm not so far gone as to want to give that up just yet. I know what a real woman is like: to touch, to taste, to hold, to hear, to fill up. A doll will not be an adequate substitute. It's not going to feel as good as the real thing. Not for a long time. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. And let me know what you think about those dolls.